right, you guys. Hi, I am here with Frank Rogala, and he is well, I don't know, like he's a man, he's a Renaissance man. He's like a musician, amazing producer of these kinds of things in real world life. But then he also is an ancient civilization researcher, and he has a YouTube channel called Mortals of Earth. But he goes down all the good rabbit holes. So he's like a kindred spirit and somebody that you guys definitely need to go subscribe to and check out because he's got some really cool stuff. So welcome aboard. Hey, Frank.
Hello, it's so great to see you. You're one of those people that you're at a conference with thousands of people, and I run into you 70 times because
Yeah.
and I'm overjoyed every time I do. It's just like that school trip you get on, and you got that buddy, and you just lock right in.
Yeah, it's true. I felt like I saw you everywhere. At the we saw I saw you at Graham Hancock's. Um, what was that thing called?
It was his only thing for the year, and it was
Is
basically
Sedona.
it was basic it was basically yeah, what was the title of it? Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I want to say Blast from the Past. It's not that. It's something like that. Anyway, Graham Hancock had his own like little mini conference thing in Sedona in April, and we met each other there. And then I saw you again at the Cosmic Summit in one of
North
those
Carolina, is it
South
Greensboro?
Carolina, one of those Greensboro, wherever that is. And then yeah, so anyway, yeah, and we just kind of you can kind of just tell when somebody's got their finger on the pulse, and I'm like, so what's your thing? What are you doing? And yeah, so okay, so Frank has got some recent access to these artifacts that he's going to do a little field trip share and show us while he has access to them, a little bit about them. And they're some crazy cool artifacts from Mexico. And some people are kind of, I've heard, like online on the Twitters or whatever, you hear people like kind of poo-pooing them, saying that they're not real and that kind of stuff. But Frank says otherwise. So I would like to see what you say. What do you think?
So the way I found out about these was I sat next to somebody on a plane who I have an NDA with. So I can't tell you his name, but let's just say he's extremely famous and is going to be extremely more famous in the next couple of years. And it's a whole rabbit hole conversation, but it led to he did a TV show. And I had been in LA since 1980. I grew up in show business, and he was really bummed out because he had done a show with William Shatner. And William Shatner, he says, you just like was nasty about everything I said. And I was just presenting data. And I'm like, okay, number one, William Shatner is not a scientist. He's a 90-year-old actor,
True.
and he has a wire in his ear, and there's a producer telling him what to say. And probably the format of the show was if he agrees with you, they don't have a show, right? So anyway, he goes, well, the good thing was after it aired, a couple months later, I was getting contacted by these really poor people in the middle of the desert, and they were sending me these items they had. He goes, and they had gold and diamonds in them, and these people are really poor. And so him being a scientist, he got together with some other scientists and he started showing me photographs. Uh, and I, I, I don't know how it imprinted on me because, I'm is ADHD is the next person, but I remembered the people and I remembered these artifacts. And he went through the whole discussion of what happened was these people have been finding them for generations. And historically, when you talk to them, the Spanish, when they came through and made everybody Catholic, it's like this stuff is from the devil. And they said there's temples and caves and things that were all blown up by the Spanish, so thank you very much. But they still keep finding these, and certain people find them. And after I kind of uh, soaked that all in, I was at a conference in Las Vegas, and it was just disorienting. There was so many things going on, and I just kind of lost, and they're all simultaneous. I just wandered into a room, and I saw a picture of the person I can't talk about with the scientists I can't talk about. Then I saw in the room the scientists were in the room with the artifacts in the room, and when I let them know who our mutual friend was, we just hit it off. And one of them was from my home state, and so that began a friendship. And to actually know the guys on the ground who are finding them, then to meet the scientists who are using techniques like thermoluminescence, carbon dating, and then there's also another technique which I'm not sure because there's ceramics involved. When you have ceramics, you can also date those as well. And these ceramics are not like pot shards. These are almost like porcelain. They're gorgeous. Now, also, I had met people I could talk about. It's like Scott Walter. He's actually a geologist too. He had worked on a series, and it was like Greg Braden and Nassim Harmein and all these guys because they were fascinated because when they did this timeline research on these, and carbon dating can be a couple hundred years off. There can be issues, whatever, right? Thermoluminescence is pretty deadly. Well, everything lined up. So there was a whole TV series done about these. It was for the Discovery Channel or whatever. And I don't know what exactly happened, but they say it's changed ownership and the CEOs and, changed his direction. Anyway, so one episode of this thing aired and the rest never aired. Now, also, the people in this area, they were getting this acknowledgement, and scientists interested in the government came in and built a museum, and they were thrilled because, wow, they're so broken. It's going to bring in some tourism. And then the government closed the museum. And then these people all had been finding these things over the years. They had donated a lot of stuff. There was like 10,000 items in this museum.
What part of Mexico
Everything,
was this in?
everything disappeared. Everything in the museum was gone. And so they're like, do not trust anybody anymore, right? And also, they have a sense for how important these are. And to them, I mean, just the dirt poor people you could even imagine, they have such a higher purpose that they're working with some people to make sure that these things get out. Now, I've seen these for sale on eBay, which doesn't help, and like I know what they are, and what I've seen it looks real because there's thousands of these, and I only guess that maybe because the area is controlled by drug cartels, and
Well, I first saw, I had a woman who was telling me about an artifact that was speaking to her in her head. In 2017, I went to Taos and I was building these Earthship things, and she was showing me the artifact, like pictures of the artifact, and she wouldn't take it out of her house, and she said it was scaring her. And it was like a little gray or little eye alien looking one, and it almost looked like it was on some kind of white porcelain stuff with etching on it. And then I kind of just was like, yeah, cool, whatever, like I was just information I intook, and then I didn't think anything of it. And then in 2018, my friend Danielle, she's from Oaxaca, she lives in Oaxaca, Mexico, and I don't know if she was digging some construction project or if it was after that. I can't remember the situation, but her husband ended up digging up a little porcelain figurine, and um he came over and showed her and was like, this is so cool, this is so crazy, and they were like, yeah, like this is, I wonder how much this, I think this is like, what is this, and she said that they put it on their bookshelf, and then within like a week or two it was just gone. Gone. Like, she's like, I don't know if like how we would have lost it, or if someone came in and stole it in the middle of the night, or if it, she's like, or if it literally phased out of existence for us. I don't really understand, but it just was gone. It was there, and then a couple weeks later, just nobody was there. It wasn't there. So I mean, I hear these kind of stories about it, and then some of the stuff you were telling me, I was like, well, let's start talking about these things. What's going on?
this is going to be a long conversation. I have 7 things to say about that. Wow. Okay. Well, number one, if you're still in touch with her, the woman that was afraid of hers at all, they do talk. I mean, they do communicate. In fact, the person I can't talk about called one his girlfriend. It was a big figure like this, and he slept with it. He slept with it in his bed. And when I saw him a couple of years later, I talked to his girlfriend who'd been with him that time. I said, "Does he still sleep with that? Because I know he doesn't do anything for no reason, right?" And she goes, "Yeah." And so when some of these artifacts came into my proximity, I had told you about this story. I said, you can tell me stuff, right? And I can send you if you want to insert it, the video. Like, okay, so I said that, and I'm in bed, and I look down at my watch, Apple Watch, and Apple Watches don't do anything unless you do something, right? It was typing messages to me and I've got a like I grabbed my camera and I'm taking pictures, so it's not perfect because it was so fast I couldn't even read it. And anyway, a few other things happened, and we decided. I just told them, I said, stop with the electronics. We'll find another way to talk because they ended up. I think maybe it's a struggle for them. I talked to another physicist who was explaining to me how, on a quantum level, you can imprint knowledge or consciousness into things. And then there's a guy that I know that can read these, like that they directly talk to him, and he said they have been left for us to learn where we're from, and they're imprinted with this knowledge. And so, because I'm also thinking, like, when I start showing you these, I mean, if you think you've seen something, I've got crazy. This is
All right.
crazy stuff here that we have here. Okay.
Let's see
Uh,
some. Let's yeah, tell me.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's not. Okay. I'm going to start off with this is the first things I saw. They call them potatoes, right? So, and I fell in love with they're like a marble, right? So, and they're beautifully marked with this dark, and they don't know what the ink is yet, right? Now, these are very iridescent, and I have a series here today that have this kind of thumbprint that's been scratched in them. And my nephew said, if you put your thumb in that position where like that, he goes, they fit in your hand. And like every single one that has like the thumb thing, it does that. It's almost like it's a way of,
It's
and
like
in
a
fact, on
giant thumb.
some of these it actually has a figure with a thing in its hand, which could be one of these, right? But I mean, all over these are, and it gets even more so as we go Egyptian kind of looking things, but also this kind of proto language. And trust me, I've had like every ancient language expert. We're all looking at this and trying to. We don't have a Rosetta Stone for these yet because we didn't really get into the age of this. But when they did, whenever there's a stone embedded, the adhesive in there is uh, carbon based. So what they have to do is go in a completely dark laboratory. They pry the stone out and they get a sample from underneath, and they can do thermoluminescence, which actually tells them the last time the sun hit it, which um, also could be backed up by because this adhesive can be analyzed for the carbon dating, and that also gives you that to go by. And they lined up. They were 8,000. Okay, wait. So your civilization is like, there's a line here, right? So we're here. Let's start over here. We're here. Supposedly 6,000 years ago here, we started civilization, right? So
Mhm.
already we're at 8,000, right? And then there's 12,000 and 20,000 over here off camera is like how old these go. Now, we were supposed to be, drooling in caves with spears at that point, right? Um, so I'm going to start. There's a lot to go through. So because there's going to be people, this will trigger things in when they see these. A lot of them do not look very human. In fact, most of them do not look human.
Mhm.
They've been very beautifully crafted, and every surface of them has some kind of iconography on it. This one you can vaguely see this kind of a saucer with rays coming down. And that's not pareidolia. You'll see like we get more and more
Yeah.
obvious as we go. This is another one with a thumbprint. And it again, if you put it there, it kind of sits in your hand and it's kind of like, but you know, that looks human, right? Then we got these footprints, and then there's a lot of these kind of things with heads without feet. I always look at the feet and the fingers, and then the other thing is I've got there's like another kind of saucer looking thing, right? And then we've got a feathered or perhaps scale kind of serpent dude,
Oh yeah.
and then this head in the middle of it, and then his mouth is open, and then there's a lot of these spirals on things. Now, Mike Rickseeker, he's an author, researcher. He's been doing a lot of work with portals, and he notices that
Yeah.
portals are marked with
Spirals.
these.
And I've gotten the downloads that the spirals have something to do with time travel. Time that it's a way to manipulate time. So
There's like a
that's just
head, like there's an eye and a head inside the mouth of this, and then
yeah.
another kind of like skull that doesn't look quite human there. Now, one of my these tend to come in waves, like intuitively. Like the guys that find them they think it's time travel involved with these because they tend to have messages and be found in waves. Now, this is one of my favorites. It's the tiniest one I have. And there's ones that are tinier. It looks like a little sombrero, right? And it has
Oh,
this
that's cool.
symbology. And this is like a really like it's like a porcelain. So like, and so you've
Wow.
got that way to date it, and the symbols are all over it.
And
But as with many of these, when you look, there's like a little dude in there riding, and
that's so cool.
I mean, I'm
It's
sure
like
that's
a little
accidental.
UFO. It's like a little UFO saucer.
All right, so now we got
And what do
another
we
potato.
think this is? Like, what is the white stone?
Well, this white stone, I don't know if it'll show up in here. It actually it has some, it's going to be weird on the camera, but it has these iridescent qualities. It's a marble that Scott Walter says is a marble, and they've done some testing. Some of these don't seem to quite be from here. I don't have that information, but I have had friends that have told me they said when they touch them, it says, why are they always cold? They always feel cold no matter what the temperature is. So they do have some strange properties, and you'll see, I'll
They
show you
look
on.
very similar to a thing called lodestone, which is smaller than that, but lodestone is like a almost like a meteorite white carbon, but they look similar to that. It's interesting.
And that's normal, right?
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, when we get through even half of these, I just think about what that time must have been like that they were doing so many of these, right? So this is one I have a lot of hybrid. They call it the guys that are into this, they have little nicknames, right? But see that face is split. This side, the teeth are different than the mouth here. This eye is different than this one. And then there's like one of these little worm kind of like dudes. And then we've got this iconography again with the shiny thing. And then on the back, this kind of feels vaguely Mayan to me. But then we've got, again, this proto language, whatever this is, right? Okay. Now, this one, Scott Walter wanted it, and I told him he could have custody whenever he wants, but I'll show you why in a second. Now, again, every surface, not quite of a human, and we have like it's a Templar kind of, they're finding this in the bottom of Lake Van in these crosses. I mean, they predate
Mhm.
Christian history, and then I'm always looking at the number of fingers and the postures uh, of the figures. And look, there's another face there in the bottom. I mean, kind of just as a piece of art. Now, do you see this?
DNA. Oh, wow. Interesting.
So I'm sure that's an accident, right? And then again, we have another thumbprint, and if you put it like that and it just sits. It's like, I don't know.
What's
It
on the
just,
other side of that one? On the other side of the
okay.
thumbprint.
So we got this guy, and he looks real human, right? And he's holding something. Um, it's interesting. We got a half of a
Oh,
face there, you know, and the thumbprints are, they're made to look like a print, but they're not a print. They're actually carved in. So now I've got a second one that has DNA on it as well. Okay. This is another one with a thumbprint that if you put it, it fits like this, and it actually has like a little knobby thing. And you can see we got kind of reclining, looking over his shoulder with kind of like a snaily kind of looking thing, right? And then this is just a kind of beautiful graphically, but I'm sure it means something, but it's part of this face. And then again, like there's something there. And if anybody's watching this and then you see it, just stop the video and look at it because there's so many angles on it. It's hard to pick the right one. So I got the best camera I could get so that you guys could stop it because if it's a dream, it's an impression. We're all looking for what these things are telling us. And this one's got the gemstones. It's more of a cruder one. You can see this kind of a being with this kind of
mhm.
head, and then okay, the back is a little bit rough to see, but it has that spiral on it.
Yeah.
This is like just just deadly like Eye of Horus kind of thing.
Totally. I have Horus. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the beautiful purple little gemstone. And then okay, give me, give me a break,
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, totally Egyptian. But this
the
is
hell is that
Mexico.
doing in the, I mean, okay, so if Egypt only goes back 6,000 years, give me a break. This is like predates that by thousands and thousands of years on a totally different continent. Now, this is a was just recently found, and it's got the uh, hybrid kind of look to it, right? So each eye is different, the mouth is different on each side. It has kind of an interesting split. But the interesting thing about this one, I can't really demonstrate it here, but there's a couple of these. Well, this will probably show up. Let's see. It's very
Oh,
that
yeah.
that's it lights just right up. And I've got another one that
And is
basically
that
holds it.
ceramic with the two little white things in it? Like, is the brown part ceramic or stone?
This feels to be a stone. I would have probably have to ask Scott about it, but Scott's like, well, you can test it with muriatic acid. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, Scott. You know, um,
I need to come see these in person because I was a geologist too.
well, okay, look
Oh,
and see,
wow.
look, listen, you are invited anytime. All right. I,
That's very Egyptian looking in a weird way, too.
okay. So now we're going to move to, God, I don't even know what, okay, let's grab this guy. Okay. So I think I don't know if I've shown you this one, but there's another thumbprint one that, did I show you this one? And this has
Oh,
got that hybrid face, right? Okay.
they're
This
all so
is,
fascinating to me. I'm just like, if
I,
this is a hoax, it's the biggest hoax ever. Like somebody's just gone like way, like they're all stylized the same. You can tell that they're made by the same stylization. Like,
yeah, I see you're already catching on. Like that's why I say when I look at them on eBay, I'm like, okay, that's real, that's real.
mhm.
Like the scientists that are involved in this are not jokers, man. I mean, and it's a group of them too, and they're all completely freaked about it because nobody's paying attention. I mean, this alone, along with everything else we know about, rewrites the whole narrative of human history. Uh, another thumbprint where if you hold it, but the okay,
Yeah, that's some weird contortion stuff too. Isn't it? Interesting.
and then this face is
Yeah.
okay.
And what's sticking the ruby or whatever that gemstone to that? Is it almost like a porcelain or a glue or a mortar?
Well, this one is very, you can kind of tell it lights, it's super iridescent, and around it is like a black substance that they said is it came from a type of a pine tree kind of a
Okay, so like
sap.
a resin stuff, like a
And that's what allows them to carbon date it because it's, got that organic quality to it, um, the organic source of it. So, okay, this
so
is,
those are the handheld ones, but then you have bigger
oh,
ones.
just trust me. I'll be happy if we get through them all today because, all right. So this is another would be considered potato size one with some, just nice work. It's a little bit rougher on the rock, and then of course we've got that spiral, and then this looks like a Nazca line or something, doesn't it?
It does, it really does, yeah.
So
And are there any that you've felt are you're like, yeah, this one's not real?
well,
Because I know that there are supposedly replicas that people are making.
the problem is I know the people that find them in the dirt, and I see the picture of them in the dirt before I see them.
Uh-huh.
So, like, this one's crazy. I'm not even sure I can show you this because it's a little got some gravity. Okay, I'm gonna have to hold it together because it's held. Okay,
Oh, wow. That's like a clock.
yes, and it's all stone, and then each of these
Oh my God.
turn and move, and there's different writing on all the surfaces, and it's a little bit difficult to come across, but you can see it's all engraved with that proto language,
Oh my
and there
gosh.
are
I love
beings
it.
on it that don't look quite human. I don't know if I can get the
Yeah.
right light
I can
for
see.
that.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Very
You can see the
almost
language.
Sumerian looking in a weird way.
And then on this side is a lot of that language. And then there's a lot of like holding, looking like a helmet or a head or something on these things, as you will
Uh-huh.
see.
And like little saucers and
And what's interesting about this is on each level of these circles, they turn, each side has quadrants. I'm going to take these little timepieces off. See, and it comes. this like comes out of here, this little peg,
Oh my
and
God.
then I'm going to take off the each of these discs. There's carving on this side, and then
Oh, on both sides. Wow. So how do you even know which side goes down and which side goes up?
you just have to go, okay, I think it goes like this.
Right?
And
Oh, wow. And what kind of stone do we think this is? Because it's got like an iridescence to it.
this one is peculiar. I haven't asked the geologist specifically about this one. Getting to be pretty friendly with Scott, and he lives on a over, so maybe we'll get him over sometime, and he can go through this with me. But this is the next one I'm going to show you is don't have them all in one section, but there's a bunch that were like this, and they're beautifully made. I mean, they're and the markings on them are just so vivid. And this is like a constellation. And then they have a
That's totally
hole.
Egyptian, like where they keep their organs in the, what do you call those? Like the alabaster like cases they keep. Yeah.
And you can see that this is like kind of translucent.
Hmm.
Um, there's a few of these that they were all kind of happened to be found at once, and I didn't put them on the same pile. Yes, Charlie. Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna grab one. Okay, here we go. This is yes, there's nobody out there, buddy. Nope. Nope, nobody's out there. Okay. Pardon me. Hey, baby. Come here, come here, come here. Hey, come here. Yeah, yeah. Come
Charlie's
here.
his dog.
Yes. Well, look, Charlie wants to make an appearance. Say, yes, say hello. Yes. It's okay. It's okay.
Hello, Charlie.
Okay. Calm down. Calm down. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, you're okay. I'm going to open the door. Just let him go look because he sees things that I don't see, so I have to let him chase them away.
Yes.
Now we have actually, I just been shown pictures that are coming in my sphere. A couple of these that are going to be like 30 inches in diameter. They're huge.
Oh, so it's
And
like that little one you have, but it's
yeah, and there, I know one of the guys that has been down and finding them. He has literally like dozens of these saucer shapes. But again, we've got like our little rider in there, and
that's so
even where he's at is
interesting.
very geometric. And you can see like these stones are put together. So I always am excited when I see the gemstones inlaid and I see different stones put together because I know that they can be dated, but not super worried about it because you handle a few of these and you know what it is. This is one of the more unusual ones that um
Oh, it looks like a foot or something.
yeah, it's like four toes too. It's like strange, right? And then you can see it's got uh there's
A
like a
person on
being that
it. Yeah.
it's almost like a Mayan looking thing, right? Like you see that person, and then
Yeah.
okay, in the back, we've got, and then this is like a head, and it's holding this, and then
Person.
these kind of disky kind of ship things. All right.
Wow, that's cool.
Okay. Now, this is there's a bunch that have been popping up that are like books, but they're like stone books, right? So this
Oh, they
okay,
like something would have connected them.
this connects it like goes it's hard to show you
Oh,
here but it
in between
binds it, right.
both. Great.
Okay, so I'm going to put that there, but and then in the book we've got this. Now this is the one that I was telling you about. If I hit it with that light and go into the dark, it glows for 10 minutes. That stone is gorgeous. It's this gorgeous blue. And when I have geologists walk by, because they check them for luminance or whatever, and they're shocked by how not all of them glow, but the ones that do really glow. So again, that proto language, and then we've got this one's a little probably hard to see on camera, but just that it's, just basically that proto language. And then, but I mean, can you imagine the trouble you would go to make that out of stone to bind this, right? And then the way when you hold these, they're so smooth and finished and beveled, it's
Hmm.
kind of unbelievable. All right, things are gonna get crazy.
They already are.
So this one we don't have the rider for, but it's another one of the saucer ones, right? And then if you can see some of the carving on it, we got like a little guy there on the top, and then um, again, beautiful. We got another piece of stone that's been inlaid there. And then I start seeing these people, like they have like some are insect looking, some are like
Bird looking or something.
yeah, avian,
Yeah.
yeah. And we've got this sits over it, and then there's literally a bunch of minis that are coming for my inspection. They call them minis, which is those little guys, like the guys that ride inside. They make a lot. Like my friend that has been down there found one. It was just like it was just barely bigger than a few grains of sand. It was completely carved. I'm like, whoa. Okay, let's see. How crazy do I want to go? We're going to start at least crazy to the most crazy. Okay. So this kind of fits in the hybrid. Let's start with the side hybrid area. We got two
Okay.
sides. The
Different
eyes are different. Yeah, and then the ear coming off, and then
ears are
this,
in different spaces.
and
Yeah.
then this odd thing, right? And then like look at these
Yeah.
trailing out. It's like almost like a sea creature or something.
It's
We
like
have
a
this,
jackal and an octopus or something. Like,
yeah. And you think, okay, how do they even know about octopuses? Like if we take our timeline in our academic, you know, okay, and then look at this.
look at
It's
the
like a
sun or whatever it looks like.
yeah.
Octopus. I mean, it looks like a. It's,
And this is one of the more crude ones. Like it's got it's well done and finished, and there's areas that are polished, but it isn't as smooth as some of the ones. Okay.
and you think that's just like wear and tear from it just wasn't preserved very well in the ground.
They're like, yeah, when they first find them and they have a saying, they say they reek, right? And they have this smell of like mesquite charcoal or something, it's like, all
Mm.
right, this is beautiful one.
That's definitely got some more Mexican Mayan headdress kind of culture thing.
And see, the sun has these little holes, like
Oh,
these are holes. There wasn't anything put in them.
yeah.
And then, of course, this looks entirely human right here, right? And then we got this side, of course, and then see it's holding that kind of spiral
Wow.
looking
Like weird
thing.
looking snail pet.
And then I'm looking, always looking for legs, feet, and the number of fingers and things like that. But also, like this shape is interesting. It's beautiful. I, I mean, everything about this, the way it's laid out and this way this goes across it, and then these three coming up,
Yeah.
just
It's definitely looks very like our cosmic origin story or something.
okay. Now, this one is very unique. This next one I'm going to show you because it's one of the cruder unfinished ones. I've never seen one like this before that was unfinished and kind of crude. There's like this thing was they put went to a lot of effort to put this into it, and there's the cement is still on it, like it's not wiped off or finished. However, they did
Interesting.
it, and these are drilled out for, or however they did it, and they put these like pegs in, like for the little legs, right?
Oh
Which was
yeah, interesting. I wonder if there was something else was stacked on top of it.
yeah, well, and it's got that. It's very thin. It has look how perfect that is.
Wow, that is perfect.
Like, how do you do that? Okay, now check this out.
Ooh, whoa.
I mean, we're getting quantum here, it's
Yeah.
like almost like portals and DNA, and then that ring is that like a
Yeah. Saturn
holding
time.
energy or prisoning or
Yeah.
and then the way the stars are drawn in there, I've seen that in Egypt. They just kind of draw stars like that.
Yep.
So this
That's
one,
crazy. That's like my favorite.
wait till you see this. Okay, this is one I've got to be really. Oh, let's see, I already dropped one. This one has sentinels on it. Some of these have sentinels. Let me see if I can bring it over in one before I knock it all over. Let me put the guy back on there. It's kind of why I was thinking it would be good to do this with a phone. All right. I think I'm just going to hold him. All right. So everything on this moves and turns. Okay. Um,
Wow. Oh
oh,
no.
they're jumping. Okay. It's okay because they're stone and they fill my keyboard. But all right. So I'm going to just take okay. You saw it like in one
Okay,
piece.
see it like that, and then we could take the individual pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have these. I have two pieces that have sentinels. I've got a couple more that I'm going to be seeing. You can see that they have like these distinct personalities. Like this one has like a face mask thing on, or the two eyes and that size head, and then this guy's got a complete covering face mask thing, and then
Oh,
there's this guy, right? And th there's another one with four sentinels on, and they have the same personalities as these guys, which is strange, right? Now this thing was in the middle. This was the thing that turns in the middle, and
yeah.
it's
The black.
completely like
Oh, and it's like the sun's face or like a big star. Looks like volcanoes or something. Like, oh, if you go the other way, like, oh, so yeah, the sun has like a face or something. Or,
yeah, it's got quadrants too, like four stars or whatever, and that does look like a
um,
face, right? And then
yeah.
the back, of course, they don't leave any surface, so the back has got uh
Oh, some weird alien being thing. And
yeah, so
the one, yeah.
and you see this was put in here so that it would rotate on the bed, right? And
Wow.
then the bed, it goes into this very, look at that thing, goes into that, and then let's see if we can get where you can see okay, I don't know if you can see there's two beings on either side of it.
Yeah.
And then on the back of it, we've got this gorgeous,
Oh, that's cool.
and then the proto language all around that being, right? And then we have an ankh there, which I'm sure that's a coincidence, right? And
Yeah.
then,
Wait, let me see the onk. It's like that. Oh, it's a total onk. Yeah.
and then we've got like a little ship here.
Yep.
And then, yeah, and it's interesting because she's holding her hand on top of this, and then her hand down towards the ankh. So, like, like what the hell? Like an
Yeah.
ankh,
What the hell? Seriously.
you've got these ancient cross-looking Knights Templar. They're finding those in the bottom of Lake Van too.
Very Egyptian.
Okay. So we haven't gotten crazy yet, by the way.
Oh no?
No, because okay. So literally, we have, okay, let me start, let me start small here. All right. So this is some more of the kind of saucer-like guys, right? And this is like a little bit cruder of a stone
Okay.
and
Interesting.
symbology on it. And then this is another one of those kind of like coaster looking guys with it has a hole all the way through it. I mean, and look how perfect that's made. And
Yeah.
then this, again, we got a spiral. That means something, right? Like, what
Yep.
does that mean? Okay. Now, this one just was found. Um, it's it's completely like put together like these pieces. And then what's crazy is on the back of it, it's got like this saucer over this guy reclining, holding like an
Egg or
egg-shaped
something.
thing.
But yeah.
And so the guy that reads them says that those are like those potato things that they're showing us that they're
Oh,
reading.
right. Like so he's holding one of the thumbprint stones, maybe.
Okay. So that looks very Mayan to me or something, right? It's
Yeah,
like it's
that's
got,
totally Mayan, yeah. Look at wow, look
and
at
then
it.
What's it like that beard?
Whoa, that's weird. It's like a beard stair step thing. And it's weird that it has the thing coming out of its head.
Like, is that like so many things? Is that like your spirit guide, your possession? Is that, is it hybridizing? Is what is
Well, it's
that,
on a
right?
triangle, so maybe it's the monad, and the oversoul. That's
What do
weird.
we got?
Oh, I love that spiral at the top. That's cool.
And then
It's like he's
there's
in a
got to be
little
like,
vehicle bending his head down or something.
yeah, and it's like it's got to be like glass or something, and then
Yeah.
this, okay, and then I mean, this is like very stylized, and then
So cool.
it's just, and you got, look at the posture, the legs, is that a helmet, and he's holding
Right.
on to that, and okay. And I can't, they're completely smooth. They're so beautiful. Their surface. Okay.
That's gorgeous.
And it's like so like perfect and beautiful and smooth, and
Uh,
look at the,
wow.
yeah. So for everybody out there that says these are fake, yeah, they're fake. Yeah, just go away.
Yep.
Um,
You can think they're fake. That's cool.
yeah. So, and check this. Look, there's a lot of this genie kind of thing
Ah,
going
yeah, I
on.
was gonna say it looks like a genie in a bottle. Yep.
And then it's holding, and then it's got this other being here. And then I don't know, it's like that thing on the other one where
Yeah, there's another one that was
it's,
similar to that. I wonder if that's like some
and I just
machine
wish you could feel the way it feels. It's like there's a,
heavy.
yeah. Okay. Check out this chick.
Whoa. Yeah, that's like a weird. Oh, and I see the boob. At first, I was like, how do you know it's a chick?
Well, my
Yeah.
plumber is completely insane. He's like, "Oh, that's a chick, man." Okay. Oh. And then like look at the mouth. It's like a platypus face or something, right?
Yeah, like a weird duck face. Yeah, it's weird.
And again, like beautiful and just perfect and smooth. And that the lines on this, right? Okay. All right. This is this is one of the craziest ones I have. It's like
Is she birthing him or is someone kicking him there?
I dude, looks like that, doesn't it? I mean, and the beat but it's got that genie look to it too,
It's also got an ephemeral
And
like
then the Eye of Horus, right? Like unmistakable Eye of
yeah,
Horus, like right over top of it.
that's crazy.
And
And the squatter man position.
like, okay, if you're skilled enough to do this, you're not making it by mistake to look like that.
Nope.
And then we've got,
Oh, see, that looks totally like a spirit body or like a, you know,
and then again, we got a spiral right over at the top. And then we have this little symbol at the bottom.
wow. Okay, that's interesting how it's like a conglomerate or like a mixed marble stone that they used for the jackal. That's really pretty.
You could see how the finish is on it, right?
Yeah,
And it's, and the and then the trouble to go to, put the stones here
another
and
spiral.
then this proto language, and then of course there's always every surface you've got.
Uh, well, that's very like how the Egyptians are always feeding, on their hieroglyphs, but that's that's that looks like a space helmet.
And look at this, it's got like little wings or something,
Yeah, like an egg with it. Okay, this is
Okay.
just like
So,
hurting my brain because I'm like, what is this?
so this is what blew my mind was when I saw this one. It was like unmistakable Ankh, right?
Yeah,
And it's got Eye of Horus over top of it, and then this other being, and then a mummy, and it's in a pyramid
I would
shape.
totally got it a mummy on a pyramid.
So it's like, and then the proto language all around it. So that so far I've seen two of them with the mummies on them. And then this chick, she's like got this like staff with a head on it that doesn't look quite right. And then we got the proto language around it. Now, um, okay, so kind of rush through this. So I've got, Atlantis, right? It's supposed to have Oratulum. And in Egypt, Muhammad had showed me where there was a formula on the wall, but it would have been damaged, so it didn't have the whole formula for Oratulum. Is that how you say it? The Atlantis gold. And for years they said it was a myth. Well, they didn't say Atlantis is a myth too. And then they found some on a Phoenician ship or something or whatever. But anyway, might have some in my hand right here. This is this is nicknamed, they call them a mask. They go like this, right? So you can see the shiny, this is Oratulum here, and this is it here. And I've had it read with a meter, like when you go to gold shops, and it gave the elements in it. It has the most of gold, but it has about 12 other things in it as well. And you can see that it's being symbolic.
Look at the wings on that being.
It's like being handed, like it's levitating up and going to it.
Oh, interesting. And like one's in like solid form and the other one's like etherically like just etched. That's interesting.
And then behind this being is another one kind of like floating on something. Okay. And then there's like the constellations, like the
Yeah.
dots and things. Now, I just been in a big cat fight with people over the Gosford glyphs. And so I'll tell you something about this after we can just look over some things I noticed because of that. But this is another Ratulum right there that she's handing, and she's got like behind her, three other beings, and they kind of bird, very avian looking. And then the being that they're handing it to is kind of looks like something out of Star Wars. That.
Yeah, it does. The weird head.
But it was now here's the thing, like this finish on these is perfect, right? But all these little puckers here, these
Yeah,
little
those
things.
little, what is that? That's interesting.
Yeah, so that reminds me of a spot at the Gosford glyphs that they haven't identified yet, but they call it a master star map. And I now there are constellations, like you can see that they're marked on here, like
Marked in
with
it.
lines
Yeah.
between them. But I just after I had seen that, because this has been I'd seen this before in the background, but it didn't really register that it could be, actually telling us something. So anyway, now, so that we kind of raced through them all, but that's most all of them. There's a few that aren't here. Like I do not have the access it to the handbag. There is a handbag, and it
Oh,
does not have anything human on that. So
and then you said there's ones that are as big as like a car hood or a table.
I just There's one in Kingman, Arizona, waiting for me to see it. That is not just a table. It's like they put a tape measure on it. It's like 12 feet long, and it's got pieces that go into it, right?
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And they were like, "Hey, well, we'll ship it so you can see it." And I'm like, "Don't ship it. Just leave it there. I will come and see it because
Yeah.
these things." Oh, okay, two more.
Whoa.
Now you can see that in these segments, there's polished and then there's rough, right?
Yeah.
So I went to trouble to do that for some reason to change the texture. And it's like so unusual, kind of like almost impish or something.
Yeah. And is this
And then
turquoise? Is that
I believe that, I mean, it looks like turquoise. That this doesn't iridesce, but the other gemstones in it, I don't know. It would be something that um, Scott could probably tell me. And then you can see
there's the mummy, another mummy.
yeah.
And it's
And then
almost like they're taking its spirit out or something.
yes, you just, yes, perfect. Yes. And then this is the one I saw kind of like asteroidy kind of things floating above it.
Yeah.
And unless they were trying to the thing is, I don't think there anything was they drew what they saw because it's so well done. I don't think that this is like any kind of like fever dream, right? All right. Another one. Let me see if I can get in.
Let's have something to do with
Oh,
moon.
I'm going to take them in two pieces and I'll put them together when you see. This one's very unusual. Um, okay. He's big. He's a big guy.
Oh, he's in full sculpture.
And he's holding this, which has the proto language, and this is like a marble, right? And he holds it like this, and he's got this thing to hold that in place, like an offering. And he's got that face, like the face mask guy that I was showing
Face
you, the
mask. Yeah.
Sentinel.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then he's kind of a cruder stone. I was really worried, and it's the if you the clothing is like drawn on. It's almost like very kind of Mayan looking clothing.
Oh yeah. Okay. And then what's on his ears? Is those stones?
It's like been a different kind of stone has been put in there. They went to some trouble for that, right? And then they went for some trouble for this. But you just have,
He's cool. Yeah.
okay, I think that's all.
So I mean, have you, I feel like you could literally take a picture of every single one of those glyphs and then get the AI to like write you a language or to like start seeing where the same glyphs are represented twice or um
Well,
something.
between like me and the person that is downstate, and then there's some of the people that are in Mexico, and then some of the other. Well, even I haven't seen like Scott Walter's collection or Greg Braden's collection or whatever, but
So they
those
have
guys
these too.
possibly.
Okay.
Here's the thing is they don't acknowledge them as being artifacts, right? But they are. And they are really important to all of humanity, you know. They should not be sitting in my house, you know. They should be in a museum. People should be studying them, but you can't trust them because they're not treated with any respect. And as I have learned, and our mutual acquaintance friend Jimmy has learned is like that there's no energy for really getting to the bottom of what's going on in the ancient world, you know.
So
And
perhaps there is like some sort of systematic cover up for whatever reason, and I don't understand it, but it's there. And like we've gone on to many different ways in which we could prove it's there, but it's there. And yeah, so it's like, I've dealt like this same subject matter has come up before. It's like I know somebody who has a ruin site on their land that they've like excavated and they don't want to make it into a museum or have the major museums come because it's like that like there's just horror stories of what actually ends up happening when any kind of official narrative gets involved.
so I was on the island of Delos in Greece, and you always talk to the local people, and then you find the people that don't really want to talk to you, and you kind of, you know, the confounding of tongues is not working anymore because I have Google Translate, you know.
Right.
And so what I'm saying is like I learned this from Freddie Silva because he hangs around long enough where you get to the baby's born and the grandma dies and you're dancing at the wedding and you get to know people and you find out what the knowledge is going back. So in Greece on the island of Delos, which has crazy ruins, like um, it was just this abundance of we have this experts from whole different fields and so many people had gone through Greece. Like there's better shit from Greece in the Louvre and in the British Museum in Turkey than there is in Greece because it's just been raised over so many times. But you're going through these ruins and it's incredible, that you got the mosaics and the key things in this between stones, they look like and they find them
Like
on every
landmarks.
continent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm talking to famous guy. I can't tell you his name at the moment, but and he said, and they, this is what got me really upset with archaeologists was I was like, okay, what is archaeology as a degree? So I started looking it up, and it's really loose. It's like basically from humanities. So it's like oh, well, they married this tribe and then they did this and then they had that war. And it's like all the stories, right? It's not sciences, it's not physics, it's not geometry, it's not any of those things. And so, but whenever something kind of overlaps with it, they do not want you're not an archaeologist, right?
Mm.
So,
And it's compartmentalized to a site specific thing. They don't seem to do a lot of global, broader, macro picture of what's going on thing. There's not a lot of that, which is weird.
well, so generally, this is kind of like my book. What happened was I went to enough places, I saw enough things, I talked to enough people. I'm going, what is going on here? Like it's ridiculous. I mean, sitting right here in my room is proof of, you know, incredible advanced civilization from, 20,000 years ago on this continent, connecting to Egypt, right? Right here. We just saw it. Okay. And it's all like scientific. We can prove it, right? And we can go down. Well, the problem, all my friends that are finding these are going, dude, we know you can find them because they only certain people can find them. They're like, well, you should come. But it's
Okay, so explain that to me. Like you're saying only so like because I know Sean Bond is finding artifacts and he has claimed that it has to do with consciousness. You have to be of a certain frequency for them to reveal themselves to you.
so this is what they tell me as well. And there's like I also know from Trevor Grossi that William Brown, his wife, was responsible for every major find that he made because she could sense it with dowsing rods, right? And it's similar down there. The thing is that if you show up down there and you're a stranger, it's a small enough area, completely controlled by drug cartels. And right now, um, you know, we're things are a little tense with the cartels because it's just going to take one little thing and we're going to have Trump's been talking about sending troops down. So I do not want to be the guy that gets captured by the cartel to start the war with the cartels with the United States. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's going on right now. It's like they've had it. They don't want organized crime like running that huge amount of that economy there. And those guys, you show up down there. My friend that let's just call him Anthony, um, said that, Jeep pulls up with a guy with a machine gun in the back and they're checking you out, and they just soon look at you as murder you. And then the person I can't talk about has like a drone, $100,000 drone that does ground penetrating radar. He could do a pattern. He could find those underground temples and caves that were dynamited, and but God help you if you have a drone in that area and the cartels find out, you're not going to probably survive. So it seems like a lot of these ancient spots are in really tricky areas. Um, there's a couple I know about from my Knights Templar pals that are, if I just said it to you and it went public, they would start a war. I mean, that's how sensitive these things are. So let's just rewind
Go
here.
back to that. Yeah.
My book, what happened is I was like, okay, what's going on? And so I was standing with, hopefully someday I can say his name because I owe this book to him. But by the way, this book, I am not smart enough to have written this book. These artifacts wrote this book because
Okay,
it's
so yeah,
basically,
he just wrote a book and then you're done with the book, but you're now in the process of publishing it.
yes,
Okay, and would you say that you channeled it from the artifacts?
it was, I just told them they could tell me stuff, right? And then the electronic thing wasn't working out. I mean, things would happen like I would wrap one up in a cloth and put it in my pocket, go out to dinner with my brothers and their kids and their girlfriends, whatever. And we'd sit down at the table and the light of the table would start blinking and this, oh, the light's going out. And I'm going, no, that's not what's happening. Okay. And I would just say, just wait, please, at least till we're done eating. And the light would stop blinking and they'd all look at me and I'm going, I'll explain later. Okay. So then I would take it out. I would show it to everybody. I would talk to them about it. And then the last person would take a bite and the light would start again. And, my brother's girlfriend would go, I think I'm going to have a seizure. Could you tell it to stop? And I'm like, okay, that was a figure of speech. Please just don't. None of us knows SOS or Morse code or whatever the fuck that is. Okay. So just please stop. And it stopped. I mean, they're super cooperative. Like I've had just like that kind of quick kind of interactions with them. And I think, uh, so what I've noticed this came to me. I'm with, so I wish I could tell you because he's just the sweetest, most brilliant person. But he's got some papers coming out that are going to change the world, and it's for everybody's good that we don't talk about who he is. But uh, I said, you know, right now, like everything has to fit on this line. You know, it's this mainstream. It's been around for thousands. It's been around for as long as civilization's been here. It's like it has to be. If it's not doesn't fit there, it's an anomaly. It's pseudoscience. It's wrong. But we all know things that we were told that were wrong that we now know are right. We all know things that were, uh, right that were now we know are wrong. This knowledge is dynamic. It doesn't fit on that line. And so what happens with the stuff that's been disregarded is it gets pushed away. People are embarrassed of it. Oh, it's wrong. It's a fraud. It gets hidden. And what I realized was is that it's actually from this person was talking about how everything imprints on space-time. It's all information and it's happening all the time. And we are all expressions of this main divine force, and we're learning about ourselves, and we're all creating these lines. And it gets into things like, okay, there's be some left turns here, but you've heard the story about the little girl that tragically was murdered, and then the parents donated her organs, and the little girl who got a heart transplant from her remembered enough details of the murder that convicted the murderer. There's a couple of other. You can look that one up. It's actually in the mainstream. You can find that. They took a bunch of neurons from the brain, and neurons are just connections. They're not processors. And they grew them in a petri dish, and then they put electrodes all the way around the petri dish, and they hooked it up to a game of Pong. I don't know if remember
Yeah,
Pong,
yeah. And it can
right? These neurons like learn to play Pong, and there's video of them. They play it better than I do, right? And they don't have a processor. They're pulling from,
yeah.
consciousness or space time because they don't have a way of thinking, and they learned how to do this. And there's like example after example of this. Of like we are not in this head. We are people that okay, let's. I'm sure if you're watching your channel, you'll accept me saying this, but
At this
there's
point, if they've made it through this point, you can get as weird as you want. Because, like, I
okay.
mean, I'm basically just saying, like, they may be like data, like microchips of the Akashic record, you
Well,
know, you
so
know.
my friend, so I ended up getting a whole bunch of friends in this that are MK Ultra survivors, secret space program guys, whatever, and I love them all, but they're a mess because their morphogenic fields are just they've erased memories on them. They've done things to them that are just harmful as a being, to that they're damaged. And after about 11 years or so, no matter what they've done, that memory starts coming back. And they'll be in a store and see somebody else go, wait, and so the way that they got people to cooperate and go along with it is to say, well, they're not going to remember, we can do these horrible things to them because they're not going to remember any of it anyway, right? But that's not true because we are not here. We are out there and it comes
Yeah.
back. So
Memory's not localized. Yeah.
yes, exactly. So imagine now we've got all these cultures that mummified. We got pictures of it here, right? Now we know that DNA adapts. We were told that when I was a kid, they told us that it was static, and now we know that it will adapt and change. And it has an incredible amount of data. It's like I have teraflops of data in DNA, right? So you've got these mummies that are basically their DNA is intact and they're an antenna to the space-time of the memory of that being. And in the past, they were like grinding them up for health concoctions and they
Right.
were like
Eating the mummy
burning
bits.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but we have all these cultures that took the time. And what hit me was when I was in Easter Island and I came back and I went to the big museum in Chile, Santiago, and there were mummies there, and they were like not like they were basically like pancakes of mummies, like they just basically had hair and scalp. I mean, they had their own way of doing it, but there was DNA that could be harvested from that, right? So we potentially have this huge, compendium of knowledge going back in time from all of these mummies that are everywhere, along with everything else that's been left for us as well. Like these things. Um, so let's get back to this. So basically, since at least the beginning of civilization, if you're a chieftain, you're a pope, uh, you're a king, it benefits you to have people thinking along your mainstream, right? Because if they go outside of this, they get crazy ideas and your status quo doesn't hold very well. But it's a control system, and it's basically the way that we've been talking about here is like why does nobody talk about this? Why? And it's enforced. It's enforced through academics. And my favorite people are autodidacts, which are the people that learn things on themselves without going through the system. Like I was trying to make some peace between Jay, from Project Unity and Ashton Forbes because they got into this thing online, and Ashton will go right to his gamer insults and stuff. I'm like, and Jay was like, I just want to punch him on the nose. I'm like, dude, you have Project Unity, right? I said, and he's like, well, his stuff has all been debunked. It's fake. I said, no, it's not. I said, I've been doing digital, video for years. I said, yeah, stock assets were put on it before it came out in order to make it debunkable, but it's not. His stuff is real. And what's really good is he's got people talking about physics and talking about the advanced and covered up physics, that we've had for 100 years that's we
Right.
haven't been allowed to have. And then I don't know, I just did a video on Epstein and Harvard. I don't know if you saw any of that, but he's basically was infiltrated. He had Jeffrey's office. He gave money to programs. He had, Stephen Hawking to his island, like every major physicist. They basically were compromising, and they have destroyed physics. Physics is not right. Physics is like
There is the sexual honeypot Mossad element, but then there's a deeper element because even that what's her name, Ghislaine Maxwell, it's like they call her like Janet Atlantis, and like she was a submarine driver, and they were going down to like Bimini Road and seeing stuff. Like they were messing with there's an Atlantis element to the Epstein story that no one's talking about too. Like there's like that what's his name?
you're right. You're right. This is right where I was going with. You know, you are my best friend that never lived next door. It's like, well, like I sit with you in a room or on Zoom, and we're like immediately locked into the same channels. I don't know how that happens, but I do know how that happens. But yes, so I think these control systems go pre-cataclysmic, and I think that it's not necessarily all humans involved. It's a very complicated universe. Right now, I have a lot of contact with multiple friends that know the same people that aren't from here, and there's a possibility that we might be introducing one of the first people that are not from here, maybe sometime in October at a public event where everything's very quiet yet, and because you think humanity is complicated. You mix up this other stuff and it gets really complicated, right? And the other thing is, okay, metaphor here for you. Okay, I don't know if you're old enough to remember DOS computers. It was just like you had to type the codes in, you got
Right.
DOS, right? And then we got Windows 3.1, and it was kind of like, oh, you can click and you can just do a file, and then you can type it, and then we got, it evolved until we had to plug it into a phone line, and then we had to get uh, a virus. So we had to get an antivirus, and then we got to Windows like XP or whatever. Then we got a different browser, and then we had to get an anti-malware, right? And then we got to
Right.
Windows 11, and we got on the internet, and we had to get like a firewall, right? So there was an evolution, and then protections, right? Um, so I happen to be friends with a guy who can't be public about this because he's brilliant and he has other things, but he's basically identified the part of the human genome where we were artificially spliced to double our neural capacity. It's completely fake. I mean, it was like just
Like
like
we're
we would do in a
engineered.
CRISPR lab.
Like
Yeah, we're GMO. We're completely GMO, and he can't be public because if he released that, everybody else could see that was true as well. Now, that's that's one of 100 smoking guns of that. I mean, you look, okay, this dog, right? Charlie. All right. Plants outside, the bugs on the wall, the fish in the sea, every other creature on Earth besides humans has 6 to 12 genetic defects. And it's kind of it's like a standard thing, except for octopuses. Nobody knows what the hell's going on with octopuses
Right.
because they don't match up with anything, right? But humans have close to 6,000. They keep finding more genetic defects. So how does that happen from one species on the earth? So, I mean, you could come up like, well, our maker was a little sloppy, or maybe we were artificially downgraded, like in all the stories that say these monkeys are going to be trouble. We got to turn them
Right.
down a little bit. So there's a hidden element behind things, and uh, and it's not all. We have been put under stress. We have been put in a situation where there's lack, and the missing element of physics is basically consciousness. And a lot of people are coming up with this, but I know the papers are coming out that actually will scientifically, mathematically even prove this, right? So imagine you're controlling media, you're controlling schools, you're controlling academia, you're controlling medicine, and you've got your line. And if you go outside of that, you lose your license, you're fired, you don't have a job, you're crazy, you're whatever, right? So it's a control system to keep us from understanding our own power. You, if you raise a child, like, okay, I'll get crazy here. So, but my friends that have been in the secret programs, they said a human being who has been trained psionically, like to use their other abilities, their intuition and other abilities, um, there are other races of intelligent beings that are from the time they're born or hatched or come out of a bottle, are trained at this. But one human, they said, can like can knock back 12 Draco reptilians, and those are that's not a joke. Those things are nasty. There's some good ones, but they can walk into a room and make you just have so much fear you wet your pants. And part of my book starts off with you don't realize our bias. We we are blind. We look at a beach as far as you can see, that beautiful beach, right? You take one grain of sand off that. That's literally equivalent to what we're perceiving, and we think we know what's going on.
Right.
But we know we can use like X-ray or ultrasound or different technologies to kind of branch it out. Yet everybody walking around trying to keep, the lights on in their house and pay their bills or whatever has no idea what's right in the same dimension with them. In the Vietnam War, they had those very first version of the night vision goggles that were red. I think we talked about this. You
Yeah.
know, Get this helicopter dude, and he's like, they're flying at night, and he's looking, and he looks out and he sees like this gargoyle flying with wings, with fangs. It looks, and somehow when you see them, they can see you. It saw him and snarls at him, and he's like firing the machine gun, and everybody else in the helicopter going, "What the hell are you doing?" And they had to pull all of those glass. You cannot get a pair of them. The technology, you can't find anything out about them. But basically, you're just seeing into that other vibration, that dimension that's right next to us.
Well,
So
and I think what we're being fed about NASA and the way that they describe space to us and the light years away and all these aliens from other planets and stuff, I think that's all a distraction from, I think we're in a frequency pancaked timeline war. And I think a lot of we have interdimensional beings and some of them, and we're creating, I think the internet in general at large and or all AI is a portal to other frequencies. And I think we're also like we're dealing with all time as one too. Like we have this like thinking like, okay, our like time isn't as linear as we think. Like it spirals and it changes and it's malleable. It's not as set in stone as we also have been led to believe. So we have all these really crazy, weird limitations. And like what I've been trying to figure out is like what I can say, I know the one little grain of sand that I do know am on my beach is that it's the amount of forgetting we have as an incarnated soul is not natural. Like we have forgotten to a level that's manipulated. It's like we're in some sort of like we have to get our remembering back. Like that's what a whole big part of this is. And that's why I'm thinking like your artifacts and things like this are a way to mend what if you want to call it the Akashic record or veil of forgetting or something like that. So I see little lights at the end of the tunnel in that element, and I see that coming back a lot. But that's our the biggest issue, if you want to call it, that we have going on is we have forgotten more than is beneficial for our experience here.
You are so my tribe. I'm like, okay. So, I mean, basically, to simplify that, there's some bullshit going on, you know? And the first time, which might be in a few weeks, I'm sitting with somebody from the Federation. I'm going to be like, really? You know, you let
Yeah.
us go through this for this long, you know? And I mean, the other thing is, okay, so what I'm hearing from a lot of different sources is that the bullshit that was going on here about 200 years from now started affecting them out there. So that's when they got serious and they started going back and into our timeline and salting things in and doing things to change it and help fix it. But I'm like, that's what it took. You had to let us go through all of this crap before you did that, you
Yeah.
know, because it had to, it seems very selfish to me, right? Because I get some of the really most brilliant people I know privately will tell me about their interactions with these other beings, you know, and they won't even hear me talking about, well, what about this bad thing or that bad thing? And they go, oh, you know, if they wanted to wipe us out, and they're so high. And okay, I'm thinking Windows 3.1, right? You can have Valiant Thor comes into the room and you feel like he's perfectly, you know, a great guy. Maybe he is, but we are so easily, you know, there can be a stinking, slimy, scaly thing going through the room, and we look at it and we see a little girl with brown hair. I mean, that's how easy we are to fool. So number one, we need to get wise to the control system, which that's what my book is about. Basically, it takes everybody, I don't care what muggle they are, you know, they read this book, they go, wow, I didn't know. Then they can look it up and go, well, that's true. Wow, well, that's true. And then by the time they get to where I'm proposing the solution, they'll be pissed off, like anybody should be. And then basically what it comes down to is if we realize what's going on as a human community and we take back our consciousness and we use it, we got it. You know,
Yeah.
it's
You know,
and
I think
we got to
we're
stop.
really we're being led more and more into systematic control and like, like and I think COVID was a brilliant example of how people will self-police and how it's almost like they're choosing slavery. Like they want more control, more control, more control. But it's like we really just need to be monad to monad, like speaking to somebody's oversoul, being like, wake the fuck up. Like you don't want to go down this like super Mad Max or like this you don't want to go down like this ultra enslavement kind of system, which is what we're like self-electing into over and over again.
So at your level of awareness of this, because I'm relating to this, right? It's hard to remember like it's not their fault. You know, everybody's trying to be the best person they can. They're operating on the information they have, right? For some reason, some of us it didn't penetrate, and we're seeing through it. You know, so it's kind of our job to put up with the bullshit of them calling us names, and you
Yeah.
know,
And it is bad and it's hard. And now I've started to just like I bypass their NPC overlay structure and I just go straight to I talk to their higher self or their whatever, their oversoul, their monad, whatever. And I'm just kind of pleading with people's oversouls to like get like remove some of this veil of forgetting, give them some light, like literally let the light of consciousness come through all of these vessels a little bit more, they're too closed off, like they're too calcified.
well, so in your power to do that, Charlie, nice kisses, thank you. Okay, Charlie's telling me it's a good. Okay, good job. All right, your power to because you God help you if you're my Uber driver, if you're sitting next to me a plane because you're going to hear shit, you know, and you can think I'm crazy, but things are going to be in your head later, and I'm going to make a crack in that, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we do, what the YouTube is. I mean, like I don't know, I probably get like Right now, I'm getting a couple hundred people to watch it if I'm lucky, and maybe seven people will make it this long in the video. But if like it could permeate the subconsciousness of seven people, that can have a ripple effect.
That's powerful. That's super powerful. You don't realize how powerful it is. That butterfly effect. I just had this conversation like online with one of the activists in Australia about the Gosford glyphs, and they take so much crap down there. Oh, that's been debunked. Oh, that's graffiti. Oh, that's blah blah.
Yeah.
Oh, that this guy with like 15 books says it's not real. Uh, and the thing is it's that's a site where it's not just one thing; it's a lot of things. It's like the Aboriginal place. There's so many things to that site. So I've just Trevor and I are working on the Italian guys to see if we
And by the
can.
way, who I also think you need to work on is the Ica stones, the ICA stones in Peru. We went to like a looter's house and we saw like 12 different big boulders, and they have like dinosaurs doing like open heart surgery. They have a ton of those UFO iconography. There's a lot of correlation between what you've showed me and those. And then there's a museum down there called the Ica Stone Museum. And then the guy like won't let you take pictures. He's like insane. But at the same time, like there's pictures of like the Queen of England visited that place, and it's the elite know more about this stuff than we know, than we've been allowed to know.
Well,
Hey, you need
there's
to
a
look
reason.
into those because I think if you could compare and contrast, you could probably get some interesting correlations.
It's interesting you say the elite because I mean that's the control system. That's the thing. I don't think they're going to see like I don't know that anybody even reads books anymore. But I mean, literally, and I'm like I said, I didn't write this book. If people read this book and they understand it, it could change everything because it's like uh, once you realize that we are just being fed how we think, and it's not good for anybody. It's not good for our civilization, and we're getting to a point now where we need to. I mean, number one we're either coming up on another cataclysmic moment or there's been some really strange things that have happened. Like, that those solar expulsions in 2012 would have taken us out. They just happened to go in the right direction. And I think that we had some help. And I also think that these magnetic excursions could be much worse and much more violent, but I think somebody's working on that too. I think that we are on the timeline. Congratulations, you're on my timeline because my
Yeah,
timeline's a good one, right?
mine's a good one.
So I want to tell everybody that if you're watching this is something you can do. It's incredible. It's really easy. When you go to bed at night, you just tell yourself, I'm going to wake up tomorrow on my best possible timeline. And then when you wake up in the morning, try to remember and go, I just woke up on my best possible timeline. And you just do that as a habit and just watch what happens. You meet Nikki. That's what happens.
Yeah, which is very, very fun. And I also I've been playing with timelines for a couple years now, and I've been on bad ones and now I'm on a good one. And I feel like it's like you can you can um you can shift your timeline that you're in. You really can.
Yeah, that's okay. That's like a really good message. I mean, didn't plan to go there on this, but okay. Time is flexible, everybody, and time is not what you think it is. And we aren't the only beings that can control. We just have been told that we don't have the power, and we've been told that we're limited, and we're told that we have to have some priest bless our water. I'll I'll bless water with a priest any day. Like I've measured it. I can do it better.
Right.
Fuck your holy water. My holy water is better than yours. I can structure it, with my energy and we can freeze it and we can measure it. You don't need the mullah. You don't need the reverend. You don't need the priest. You're
Outside.
directly connected to source. That's the biggest illusion there. That was why all those books were rewritten and that they were written in ways to make us conflict with each other too. So, because when we're not on the same page, we're not as dangerous to the status quo and the elites. I mean, there's a reason they call them blue bloods, and it's not because they're completely human.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. So, okay, we have to do this again because there's so many other subjects we could talk about, but I'm like, we've already been doing it for like an hour and a half. So I'm like, this is a good, let's like, let's like wrap this up and then like I feel like we could do lives together. That would be fun.
Sure. Let me think. I'm good. I got to go to that. I'm going to that pyramid conference in Chicago. Okay, so this is like I just got to tell this really quickly. I met Trevor Grassi like years ago, and he was like the broke guy that everybody seemed to know, and but he didn't have a book out, and was kind of like finding his place or whatever. And he would tell me about conferences and things going on, and I didn't. So I registered, and he couldn't afford to go. So I'd go, can you stay on my couch? Fine. And then he knew everybody, so he would introduce me to people. And then all of a sudden, like last March 15th, he became like the most famous guy in that space for being connected to the Italian team, and they gave him more scans than they released. And so I'm so used to being in Hollywood, for all those years, and have a friend and they'd get a break and you'd never hear from them again. And here's Trevor calling me, going, "Hey, I'm speaking at this conference now, and they're giving me a +1. You want to be, like paying me back, right?" So he
Yeah.
calls me and he's like, "Are you going to the pyramid thing? Because the conference was going to rent a car, but if you're going to be there, do you want to give a ride with me and Christopher Dunn and the Italian team?" And I'm like, "Yes." So, and when you're hanging with people at that level, there's this whole other world that exists that most of the world has no idea of, and it's so crazy that it's so acknowledged and so ubiquitous. I don't know if you've had this experience. I've had a really kind of charmed last couple of years with this, where I seem to where I'm getting in the position where I'm introducing that famous person to that famous person, and then they're doing a conference, and then or this person, that person, and they're doing a thing together, and it's like these synchronicities are just getting to be crazy. So I I've gotten to the point now where I'm just insufferable. You stop me in the post office, and I'm going to start telling you about pyramid scans or about mummies in space-time memory and whatever. Because I just feel like we're at this tipping point right now. And all these little ripples and little cracks that we make into the NPCs are really important, no matter how tiny they
Yeah,
are.
and I mean, like there were times when all of us were NPCs. There were times when all of us were, or at least for me, there was a time when, I mean, I did the whole go to college, get a job, do the thing you're supposed to do for a minute. Like it's really hard to bust out and become your own thinker. I mean, for me, it was kind of hard to stay not being my own thinker. But I mean, I can see how it's not built in our favor to basically bust out of it. So I'll give them
The
that.
the hardest thing for us is to just remember that, take a breath and go, okay, they don't know any better. Okay, so we just got to, they're going to call me names and they're going to be mean or they're going to be whatever. And it's kind of like the most difficult and challenging people are our masters, and we're here to learn from them. And if we don't, we're going to just get them again, right?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
it's no fun, but that's the way we set it up somewhere.
Yep, I agree.
Anyway, all right. So thank you so much. I would love to talk again, and we've got so many things we haven't covered, and there's a bunch more artifacts that will be coming through at probably I know Trevor, and once we're going to go to Dubai and do a thing, right? And if we can get this royal family to introduce us to this royal family, we might be able to see some cool stuff in Saudi, and then go over to Egypt. And I want Trevor to take me some secret places that only Trevor could take me. So could end up, and then in December I'm going to be in Guatemala with Cliff Dunning and Lydia Did Leon because I introduced them, and they're
Mhm.
doing a trip, and I thought I should go. But it's one of the places you can still go to the ancient structures and bring a shaman and do a ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas like in Mexico, like they think it's devil worship or whatever, so you can't do that.
Yeah, so
Um,
you going to Tikal?
what's that?
Are you going to Tikal?
Yeah, we're going everywhere, and I got to get in a helicopter, which will be, this is the only time. Well, I'm going to go. like I told you about Graham, we're going to go to over the Nazca lines in a helicopter too. So, I mean,
Okay.
I'll make some
You got a
exceptions.
lot of plans going on then. Yeah, yeah. So you'll have a lot to talk about. I
Yeah,
went with
yeah.
Cliff Dunning to Egypt with Muhammad. That's so I met Cliff before. He's a nice guy. Um, but yeah, and I've done my fair share of Guatemala. It was amazing. Atacama Lake is like there's UFOs coming out of it and stuff. It's crazy.
I spent my whole morning like defending Muhammad's honor on the Gosford glyphs. I was just like so pissed. Like, don't fuck with my friends, man, because you, I'm like, you have no idea who I am and what I know, and and I know who you are. So
Like it's kind of like you said, where you were like, "Oh yeah, think these are fake." Then think like if people want to throw shade and think that like about any kind of subject, I'm like, okay, good. Then like all these things actually have codes for our memory, and if they're gonna like, then they don't get the dessert. You know what I'm saying? Like they can just go do whatever, go watch football. Then I don't care. But then leave it to me. I'll go see the Gosford cliffs. I'll compare it to something else. I'll figure it out. Like even if you're throwing shade in it, that puts it on my radar because it'll like more people be talking about it and it pops up to me. Go ahead, throw all the shade you want. And if you really want to be that much of a naysayer, that's cool. But like I'll go ahead and I'll take the sucker. Like, I'll go have the dessert and you get deuces. That's kind of how I start feeling about it now. I'm like, all right, you can be a naysayer about everything if you wanted to, but
football, alcohol, these are all spells put
yep.
over us. That's a whole subject there too. So that'll be for another time.
All right. Well, bye, Frank. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.